Two.
Good morning, y'all. Welcome into Coffee and Conversation with your boy, Joe Lockett. We're live right here at the Filter Coffee Parlor. And today, of course, we got another exciting episode. This episode today, actually, for Coffee and Conversation, is the first. I got a power couple on the show today. They married, y'all. Yeah. They married. They've been married for like 20 some years. And we're going to get into their story of how it actually works. And there's a twist in this story. It ain't just a regular marriage, America. It's just not a regular marriage. It's different. So you guys stay tuned for that. But before I get into the show, I want to talk about this here. I want to talk about high energy, low energy. I want to talk about lies and deception. Okay? Because I was having a conversation, honestly, this morning, y'all. Y'all got your coffee yet? If y'all think, our coffee getting ready to come, make sure you grab your coffee, because this is going to be a great conversation. I got something I want to lay on you this morning. I was having a conversation this morning with my brother, and we was talking about high energy and low energy. And I don't know if y'all went to go see the movie Sinners. Great movie. Love it. But it's not for me. Yeah, I said it. But I'm not talking bad about the director. I'm not talking bad about the cast. I'm not talking bad about the storyline, because it was great. The cinematography, everything was awesome. But for me, I can't go. This is not a movie I want to watch ever again. And I'm saying this in a good way. Why? Because it left me with bad energy. It left me with a bad vibe. Because of I'm not going to be a spoiler alert. I'm not. But because of what the story was about, is reason why I don't want to watch it anymore. Now, if the guy does any more movies, it's great. But that story went into something deep and dark in parts of the story where I didn't feel leaving there feeling where I needed to be in the energy I needed to be in. Energy, right? Because for me, energy is everything, right? If you got good energy around you, right, good things happen. You got that bad energy around you. To me, and that's me, I believe in God, you know what I'm saying? That juju, it gets up on you. Again, great movie. I think everyone should go see it, and you make a determination for yourself. Go keep making that man that money, because it is a good movie to see. But for me, because of certain things in there, that's just not the movie where I want to be. And the reason why I say this, y'all, please listen to me. A truth and a lie, right, can hurt. If someone is talking, if you're around somebody with good energy, right, and if you're around somebody with good energy, 9 times out of 10, they're telling you the truth, right? And those conversations are never long, and they end quickly. But if you're around somebody that has bad energy, the conversations are long. They can continue to talk to you about it, because what happens with bad energy is like a virus. It manifests itself, right? And it spreads because everybody want to talk about it. If you get an award today, if you do something really good today, you get married, oh, I'm happy, God, praying for you. Good. And the end of the conversation. Let your husband divorce you. Let you and your husband get a fight. Your friend, girl, you doing okay? Everything all right? Right? They're going to keep festering on that bad part of your life. But when you do really good, how many people, and I'm going to ask y'all sitting there drinking your coffee this morning, right? How many people call you and say, how you and your husband doing? Y'all good? How many people call you after you got that award? Girl, you still living off the high of that award? Man, you still doing good since you got that promotion? Ain't nobody calling you about that. But tell somebody about what something that happened at your job or your boss did you wrong. They're going to text you. They're going to call you. All that good stuff, right? The thing I want to tell y'all in Coffee and Conversation this morning, as I get ready to get into this show, you got to have good energy. You got to marry somebody. You got to be in somebody's life that got good energy and got the same kind of spirit that you have, right? That's what gets you to 20-some years. Now, I don't know the story, but we're going to find out what the story is. But I'm going to tell you, for me, my energy didn't last. Think about that. Now, who made the bad choice, wrong choice? And also, I think sometimes it's a season and a reason, right? So I don't look at anything in my life that was bad. I learned, right? And the energy that I had, it just went away, or the energy that person had just went away. So it's not that people are bad, but sometimes you outgrow folks. So hopefully, if you learn anything from this little diatribe that I said this morning, is make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that have good energy in your life. And notice if somebody's calling you about that bad energy or that bad story that you told, it's probably somebody you don't want to have in your life for a long period of time. But I am honored today on this show, Coffee and Conversation, making history today, that I got the first power couple on this show. Now, I've known the wife for a long time, right? She's known worldwide. She's globally known. She's known all over. The husband, he's Stedman, okay? He kind of like sits in the background carrying the purses, right? I'm joking, but when y'all hear the story, y'all may think the same thing. I want to get into this story because if y'all don't know who I'm talking about the one and only the world renowned known Dr.Mia Cowan and Joseph. Y'all don't even know his last name. Brown.
Right.
Okay? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good
Mia,
morning.
how y'all
Thank you.
doing?
Thank you. Great. Great.
We're glad to have you guys here. So how y'all doing today?
We're great.
You're doing great.
Good week. Good day today. Good day
It's
today.
a good day today.
It's a good day today.
All right. So I'm going to get a dig into y'all's story, but first and foremost, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We do appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So Joseph, I got so many questions for you, big dog.
Okay.
Many questions, right?
All right.
Dr. Mia, please let them talk.
Please.
I'll let him talk.
Thank you so much.
He said I wasn't gonna let him talk.
No.
But we know
this
you.
conversation. See, there we go. There we go, right there. And I want to ask you guys this: how long have you been married?
21.
20 years.
21
It'll be
going
21 in
August.
September.
September.
Hey. September 6th will be 21 years married.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 20 and a half years.
Yes.
Okay. I love this. Gonna be a great interview.
And we've been dating for 25 years. August 30th.
Okay.
Oh wow. I'm impressed. She remember.
I mean 26 August 30th.
You see. You messed it up.
This is gonna be a great interview, y'all. Grab your coffee. So, how did y'all meet?
You want to go with your story or mine?
I'll start with mine. Okay. All right. So we have a very good friend, Janine Edwards. And Janine, friends with me all back before high school, maybe near high school. And met Mia when they were in grad school and med school. She was in law school.
Okay.
And so we, she was friends with them, and me and my good friend Ed always hung out with Janine and everything. And so once we started hanging out together, she had just moved in the building on the first floor. Janine lived on the third floor.
Okay.
So we started hanging out, and Janine told her that I wanted to holler at her.
Okay.
And she told me that I wanted to holler at that she wanted to holler at me.
Right.
So neither one of us had said that. Okay. By the way, I had just got off a relationship and I was trying to have me a hot boy summer.
Okay. Not a hot boy summer. Okay,
yeah, I was trying to get it in. I was really like, hey, I'm out of a relationship.
Right.
I ain't dating nobody.
Right.
I'm about to paint the town red.
Gotcha.
Didn't happen. So, and that's how we kind of got together. And then I was the head of the social culture chair for the Urban League at that time. So I do a lot of fundraisers, parties, stuff like that. And she was the president of the Student Medical Association. Black Student Medical Association. So she did a lot of fundraisers as well. And so one day I showed up at her fundraiser and I was like, "You got my number?" She's like, "Nah." I was like, "Well, let me take my number." And then ever since then,
y'all been tight,
locked and loaded. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to you.
Yeah.
What attracted you to her? Since you know you didn't want to get with her, but then you met her. What attracted you to her when you first saw her? What was the attraction?
First of all, she was fine. All right.
Okay.
Number one. That was number one. Number two, she had she was Southern. I called her country. She cussed me out. We was in Milwaukee.
Okay.
That's where I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I called her country.
Okay.
She said, "I'm Southern." I said, "Okay." She reminded me of my mama. Like she's a very strong woman, just like my mom. Okay. Like for real. So
that didn't turn you off?
No, that didn't turn me off at all. Because that's where I grew up. I grew up around really strong women. Yeah. Like stronger than most men I know. And from there we just started having conversations though. And once we started having conversations, we realized even though we grew up 800 miles away from each other, we have very similar values in life. And that's what really attracted to me, besides that she was 5 years younger than me too. Okay. Yeah, so we had very strong values. So that's really, the conversation is really what attracted me to her.
Okay. Dr. Mia, now how did y'all meet?
So we were at this event. It was actually his event, I think, because he was the social. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and taste that coffee and let us know how it tastes.
Oh, that's exactly what I do. Oh, that's exactly what I do.
You can put it right there, put it on the table on the side of it.
Go up there.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, that's about the right story, except for he finally got the nerve
Oh Lord.
to ask me for my number because he had been peeping me for a minute.
I didn't ask you for your number.
He was looking for me. Yeah, he didn't ask me for my number. He was like, did you ever have my number? Because he's like, what you doing after this?
Right.
And it was like a night event. So
Right.
I was like, I don't know. And then I had my friend to come with me because I didn't know him like that.
Right.
So she came
Of course,
to my apartment with me. And then that night.
Wait a minute, come back to your apartment with you.
Yeah, my friend came to my apartment with me because I didn't know him because he was asking what we were doing afterwards. I was like, so we're going to hang out at my place.
Right.
So my friend came with me just in case. He came over.
Yep.
And then she ended up leaving and we ended up staying up that whole night talking to like in the morning about everything and conversations I had never had with anybody else.
Yep.
I haven't did my math. So how old were y'all when you met?
I was 29.
Okay.
Yep. So I was 24.
24.
So had you been in previous relationships prior to that was long term, or?
Well, I had been in a previous long relationship.
Okay.
And so that was what was intriguing about her conversation because at that point in my life, I was like, I'm not going to be playing any games. I knew the failures of my previous relationship. I had something to do with it too. So I was totally a grown man at that point.
Gotcha.
You know, so I really wasn't really even trying to hang out with nobody who wasn't going to be on that level.
Right. So that first night, Dr. Mia, can I call you Mia?
Yeah, call me Mia.
Okay. So Mia, what attracted you to him? And said, come back to the place that night, because that's the first night. You said that night. And then
but see, that was the first night we hung up, but we had been seeing each other and hanging out together.
Yeah, we have been hanging out.
Okay.
Like, because my friend on the third floor, she was the like party house. So Joseph and them always came with the party goods,
so y'all kind of knew each other, but did y'all?
Yeah, but
we
had
sets, we did all the poetry sets. It was a group of young professional women that were not out in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, we were out from somewhere else.
Because they was always studying, first of all, because they was med students, law students.
Right.
There's always studying.
Right.
And so we had been hanging out.
Okay.
And then he was like a real man. You know what I mean?
Okay, what is your definition of a real man?
So he was a real adult. He was very respectful, had great conversation. I could tell he had already had some experiences and he could show me stuff that I hadn't necessarily experienced because he was already well traveled and stuff like that. And then we just like vibe because we had so many, like he said, of the same values and the same ideas about stuff. Even though we didn't agree on everything, it was kind of the same baseline values.
Right. So were you in the same predicament that he was in, where he had got out of a relationship and when he was trying to have a hot boy summer? Were you trying to have a hot girl summer?
No, I had kind of, I'm from Alabama here. And I kind of figured I probably was never going to get married because I'm a real feminist. And I'm
Wait a minute. So when you met him, you was in a situation where
I was like, I'm probably never going to get married. So I was just focused on going to school in my career because all the guys I met down here weren't really able to deal with my personality and my feminism and my strong beliefs and my independent, you know what I mean?
Okay, I got to ask you this, Doctor. I got to go Dr.Mia on MiBella Wellness. You said a lot of stuff in the same sentence that don't go together. As a man, I'm sitting here listening. Independence, femininity, right? And
and I think just, you know, like my parents divorced, and I think just what I saw in their relationship and what I knew I didn't want, and then I just had all these like dreams and like really big goals, and the average man here, they weren't going to be comfortable with what I wanted to do with my life, especially if they weren't doing something similar. You know, so like the men in the South really couldn't deal with my kind of personality. It's never been intimidating to Joseph. Like he always knew I had big goals, big dreams. I was a hard worker. I was going to be overeducated and I was going to be at the top of my game, and it never intimidated him. So that's what really drew me to him even more. He like encouraged me to go with my dreams versus talking about why I shouldn't and what I needed to do to be a good wife and a good mother. He was okay with me not wanting that to be my real focus.
How long did y'all date?
5 years.
Y'all dated for 5 years?
Yes.
But we knew we were going to get married after probably the first 4 months. First year and a half.
First year and a half.
First year and a half.
Yeah, so you know we lived together. A lot of people sitting there. So why did it take 5 years before y'all got married?
Because we don't believe in divorce, and we wanted to make sure that we were supposed to be together, and I wanted to make sure he could deal with my lifestyle, because by then I knew I wanted to do. Did I know then I wanted to do OBGYN? I knew I wanted to be a doctor.
Once you got into that that first year rotation.
Yeah. So then I kind of knew what I wanted to do. And then once I realized I wanted to be an OBGYN, the average man is not going to be able to deal with a woman that's always gone, always on call, working hard. So yeah.
Yeah. But I had been in a previous relationship and we had dated for like 7-8 years. And then we moved in together. And after 6 months, that relationship was done.
Okay.
You know, so
you set the standard. You said,
my prerequisite was we got to live together. And I told her this. We got to live together. So we bought a house together. And everything.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold on. Y'all wasn't married? Y'all was girlfriend and boyfriend?
Well, we were living together. Then we bought the house right when we were getting married. Instead of having a wedding, we bought a house.
Yep.
Okay.
No, we was in the house a year before we got married.
Were we?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to ask you this, man to man, right? I know a lot of people watching this, but I got to ask you this. So I heard her say a lot of things she wanted and what she was looking for. I heard very little coming from you when I was actually on your side, right? So there's a dichotomy there that I'm seeing, bro. How did that work? And why did you want to marry her? Because she had all these high dreams, all these high expectations, but I didn't hear. Now maybe she didn't just say it, so don't get mad at me.
No, I'm not. She
didn't put none of your considerations on the table when it came to that marriage.
Absolutely.
She said this, I want this, I'm going to school, I'm going to do this. He can't do this, he ain't going to do this, got to put on this, I didn't hear you in that at all.
20 years later, I'm still not in
So what attracted you to that, bro?
But again, she is very similar to the women I grew up.
Okay.
That raised me, right? Number one, all of them really strong, super smart people, very direct. So everything that she was saying somebody else couldn't deal with, that was my life anyway.
Right.
Number one. Number two is I'm very comfortable who I am. I know who I am. It don't matter. I didn't go to med school.
Right.
Wasn't attempting to go to med school.
Right.
So I'm okay with her being who she is.
Right.
I don't want her to be anybody else besides that.
Speak on it.
Yeah, I never wanted anybody. First of all, I'm not attracted to a weak person. Period. Yeah. Like if I'm dating a weak woman, I'm probably not gonna stay with her. And that was my previous relationship before her. Probably not gonna stay with her. Anybody I can run over, I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want it. It's too easy.
Right.
So that's what attracted me to her, was that she had that fire.
Okay.
And I knew if we got into a fight, she was gonna fight with me, whether intellectually or whatever,
Okay.
And that's because I had to stop her from fighting men anyway. So because she had this.
When I was younger. Before I matured.
Right. But so that's what attracted me to her, because she was very similar to what I knew, and she was what I was really searching for without knowing that I was searching for that.
Right. So the taboo-ness of it, right? That leadership that she had was something you like. I didn't know I liked that, but I like this.
Yeah.
I can relate to you because I can, from the standpoint of saying this here. You being in that situation, I know what to do with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's the piece that I know how to handle, right? And a lot of times, a person like me, you're intimidating to a lot of men, right? By not just by your charisma, your personality, but by your education and what you can accomplish that most men probably not going to ever be able to accomplish at the level intellectually that you have, because that's your drive. So that would turn off a lot of men because they feel they have to compete. Got to ask you this, Joe. How do you still now feel that you don't have to compete with your wife?
Well, back then I had a very decent job and I was the man, so I didn't feel like I was competing. I mean, I'm only black dude in this division of this company. I'm competing to stay. The least of my worries is what's happening at home, and I would tell any man today, if you got more problems at home than you got on the job, that's a huge issue. So I was competing to keep my job. So I was just really trying to be number one, which I was. Okay. So it didn't matter because I knew who I was. I didn't go to med school. Like she said, it was some Southern guys who may have not could dealt with it. It was some Northern guys that couldn't deal with it either.
Gotcha.
For the simple fact that they couldn't understand that their wife or partner was going to graduate and make this amount of money.
That part.
I was like, bro, you can go to med school. That's what happens.
Right.
I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, how you think she would feel? She ain't gonna care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, I didn't go to med school. I got a solid job. I'm a good dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for the money. You know what I'm saying?
Speak on that.
It never was about the money.
Okay.
It was about her. We've been dead broke together. We didn't have a whole lot of money.
We were real broke.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not about the money.
Right.
It's about her, you know, and me and our partnership and how we gonna get through, how we gonna raise our kids, how we gonna run our house, how we run our business. It has nothing to do with the money.
Now I've noticed since we're sitting here having this conversation, right? You guys just locked in. You hear the coffee parlor, the one and only Mia and Joseph here sharing their time within a cup of coffee, which I hope they're enjoying.
It's so good.
Man, this is phenomenal. This is gonna be on my radar.
That's
every time I'm down here.
They get you what they got me.
I had the butterscotch.
That's my drink.
Oh, I love
got that orange. That orange chocolate.
Yeah, orange chocolate is good.
Ooh, it's good. It's good.
You ever shout out to Filter Coffee Parlor?
Let me taste yours.
So
absolutely.
So here's the thing that I want to ask you. You say that I know who I am as a man. This is important. I don't want to skip over that, Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because us as men, do we really know who we are? So I need to ask you, let's take it back. When you were 29 years old, who was that man that knew who he was? Because it's different than the man you know who you are today. When you was 29 years old, Joseph, who was that man that you knew that you were, that you could handle her? What was that? What was the, we got to get into this now. I want you to make sure you answer this correctly. What was those qualities, right? That made you confident to know that I'm that dude?
I don't know. I mean, I had a pretty good professional career. I was already in Black Enterprise at an early age.
And I'd say this, like Joseph is way smarter than me. Like I'm more educated, but he is way smarter.
Street smart.
Very like common sense, anything. He remembers everything. He's just a naturally smart person. And he always brought out the best in me. So he helped to groom me to be a good person, to not be selfish, to think about other people, to think about their feelings. So he's just like one of those naturally smart, just good dudes. Like he's just a good dude. You know what I mean? So I say that that's what it was.
Oh,
I don't tell him that often. You can't give him the big head.
But you know, I mean, and I'm gonna say this.
Our faith too.
Yeah,
I think a big part of
a big part is the faith.
Growing spiritually together.
Yeah, growing spiritually together. She got me back in the church.
He
but
a PK.
Back to your question.
He a PK.
Yeah, I'm a PK.
Preacher kid.
Yeah, I'm a PK.
Okay.
Yeah. My mom directed choir for 40 years. So, you know.
She gave you a nickname and everything.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. Bam. If you go to Milwaukee, somebody say bam, they probably talking about me.
Oh, I thought you were saying bam like.
That's his nickname.
That's my nickname.
Bam.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, you wrong.
He been big like this since he was like 3 years old.
Yeah, you wrong. You wrong. You were wrong for putting your
I haven't been this big since 3 years old, but I've been this size for a long time. Yeah. But
back to the question.
Right.
Bam.
So,
I can't see you different. I see you differently now.
Right. So,
oh my God. Go ahead, man.
So at that point, because of what I've gone through, I went through a lot between the age of 22 and 28. You know, I had a great career, but I was living a double life. You know, got caught up in some stuff that could put me away, so I'll still be locked up to today. Had a horrible relationship where both of us just horrible to each other, and it ended horribly. Okay. So I kind of understood who I was, and I accepted my mistakes in all of it. I didn't blame anyone. I didn't blame her. I didn't blame the system. All that I accepted everything that I had a part of. Okay. And because of that, I was pretty solid who I was. I didn't really understand my accomplishments either, as far as a professional.
Gotcha.
But I have a couple friends who helped me get out of my situation and kind of showed me, bro, you this dude. Like, you know, you got 90 employees, you know, you working for this company, which you never would have worked for. Bro, you was in Black Enterprise when you was 20. Like, you this dude, you know, and I'm like, I didn't realize it, you know. And then when I started working at Urban League and started doing other things around the city, hosting poetry sets and all this other stuff, I realized I'm a solid dude, period.
So let me ask you this question, because I'm coming to you because I got a lot for you, so don't go nowhere. Would you say that for a man to be with a woman that's possibly higher earning than him, probably got a better education, but they do love him, would you say one of the biggest things I would think, but I'm asking you, is confidence? He gotta have it.
Gotta have it. And
because I think when we ask, because this is just me and you talking, ain't nobody about she knows it right now. Do you think most men that are really good dudes, but they can't handle a woman like your wife, are they insecure?
Insecure, and the ego is in the way. The ego in the way. You gotta in a relationship, there is no room for ego. You know, she got a pretty big ego too. You know, but there's no room for ego. Ego clouds your judgment. You know, ego don't let you listen to what she's saying. You know, so you got to check your ego. You know, you got to check your ego. I can be the dude out here in the street. When I come home, I probably need to fall back somewhere. You know, I listen to what she said. You know, you know, she know what direction she want to go. Now I listen to everything she says, and if it's something in there we disagree on, we agree to disagree. We agree to disagree on a lot of stuff because we work together. But it's not. She knows that anything I'm disagreeing, it's not personal to her. It's not emotional or personal. It's if I'm disagreeing, I have a reason why I'm disagreeing. I just see it different. That don't mean I don't see it your way. I just think we can do it different. And I'm a Taurus too, so I think I'm right all the time anyway. But I just see things different. You know, but she might see go this way. I might say, no, let's go straight. You know, so and the respect between us allows us to do that. You know, because at the same time, she might say, nah, absolutely not. And I'm like, oh, hell back up. Yeah, I'm like, nah, hell no. You know, she's like, nah, and this is the reason why. And I'm like, okay.
All right, Dr. Mia. Gotta ask you. Okay, you 5 years into this, well, you're 4 months in a year, and then you get 5 years into this, man. You fell in love with him. He didn't capture your heart, right? But you still who you are. You still got your goal, right? When this man said he wanted you to move in, he started playing out a picture for you that was different than what you said you wanted, right? Because, you know, that may not be a man out there for me, but then he started to be that man. I got to ask you this question. Were you afraid?
No, because he always made me feel real secure.
So you weren't afraid to trust him?
I wasn't afraid to trust him. By the time I did trust him, so after a year and a half and no drama, him always being honest, he's not a liar. He knew that I was a very jealous kind of, you know, woman. He made sure that I was never in a situation where I had a reason to be jealous. Like he went above and beyond because he knew that about me. So I don't think it was hard for me to trust him, but it's also too because I always did this prayer. I learned to do this prayer.
Tell me about it.
And I would ask God. I asked God to show me if He was the person for me, to show me in black and white, and give me the patience and the wisdom and the understanding to do what I need to do to keep it. And if He wasn't, to show me in black and white and give me the strength to move on. If He wasn't, and so I would just always pray that prayer if I got concerned about something, and every time it would show up that He was supposed to be there, and I had done that prayer before him. And very quickly in black and white, I would see, So I think that my prayers and my faith in God, and you know, him just being a real stand-up good dude made a big difference.
Got to ask you this question. You got to answer if you want to. Have you ever felt from the time y'all got together, so that was 25, so that made you 24, y'all met? Is there ever any time from the age of 24 to you are now that you felt that Mia had to dim her light because this is my husband.
Oh yeah, but I didn't learn that until we started doing marriage classes, probably after Martha was born. So we had been married about 5-10 years.
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
About 15,
we started doing marriage classes, and then I started learning about marriage from the Word of God and my role as a wife. And because I used to, even when we got married, we were supposed to write our own vows, right?
Oh Lord.
He did, but I did. But
wait a minute, no. You ain't gonna get past that. What is it? Huh?
Yes, please tell us. Yes.
So I had this really good idea that we were gonna write.
Whose idea was it?
It was my idea.
Okay, let's go.
That we're gonna write our vows, because in my vows, I didn't want it to say that I would honor, obey.
Honor and obey.
I told him to take that out, because I was not planning to honor and obey or submit.
Honor or obey or submit.
So, but
Hey,
let him go. Let him go. Let him keep going.
Go ahead.
Keep cooking.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So he wrote these wonderful vows, but I forgot. If you know me, I have a really bad memory, so I have like severe ADD, right?
Yep.
And so I forget stuff. So I did think that was a good idea, but I never actually wrote my vows. So on the day of the wedding, because it was just the two of us at the on the beach barefoot.
That's a whole other story.
Everybody else wasn't invited because they were silly. And so he said these beautiful vows, and I felt horrible because I hadn't done mine. And so I just told him, just don't put this. So I was like, I am so sorry. Did I say anything?
You was like, no. When he started talking, I looked at you. I was like,
oh, they have their vows prepared.
I said, are you serious? We're literally standing right there. I said,
wait a minute.
You didn't have me write my vows.
Wait a minute. So
we had literally stayed in front of the minister.
The day of the wedding.
We stayed in front of the minister. I just said my vows and everything.
The Jamaican minister.
Yep.
No. I got to ask you this. Okay, so bro, I give you props. Mia, if you would have wrote your vows and he didn't write his vows that day.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Because I know a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? Wait a minute.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Would that wedding would have?
That would not. But I have a very patient, loving husband.
And all I could do was laugh for real, because I wasn't surprised.
Bro, what made you not call it off and walk away?
Oh man, no, you know what I said? The minister standing right here.
Yeah.
He started saying, I said, hold on, are you serious? You didn't have me write my vows? I was like, man, go ahead.
He's a good writer, because the other thing he didn't tell you is when I was in med school, he used to write me a poem every day.
Oh, you was in love.
Oh yeah.
I got an email every day.
She caught me up.
Like
She got you. That thing got you, bro. I ain't mad at you though.
I'm trying to have this summer. This summer is not going well.
This is me or something.
Yeah, this is me. She has claimed my summer.
Yeah.
Hot girl Mia summer.
I love it.
Yeah.
But Mia, no wedding vows. I ain't gonna let you get away with that, mama.
Right.
I know. I feel bad when we do our.
So why did you tell him to write these vows when you didn't have any intention to write yours?
Because I knew he would write good ones.
That ain't answer my question.
But I had intentions of writing them. I think I just.
This is your wedding. This is the biggest day. No, I'm not gonna let you get away with that, Mia.
Right.
A wedding is the biggest day for a woman. A man participates in the wedding that the woman chooses. Right? Why did you not write those wedding vows?
Yeah. Why?
No, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Are you drinking my?
Absolutely, I'm drinking your coffee.
I don't know what I was thinking. I really think I just kind of forgot, and then when I looked up, it was time to Sam, and I hadn't done it. Remember now,
So
I was still in residency and like running around like a chicken. So it was like crazy time
so
in
when
my
you
life.
was walking down that beach, you didn't think that you needed your vows.
I didn't even think about it
until he started. And I looked at her. I knew she hadn't, because I looked in her face and I was like,
you knew it.
I was like, she didn't write her vows. I knew it immediately.
How did you feel when you knew you didn't write your vows and it came to you? What was that feeling for you?
Probably back then I probably didn't feel bad, but I would now.
Yeah. But then you was like, he either gonna marry me tonight.
I was just like, dang, I messed that up. Let's see what we're gonna do tonight. Let me pull something out my man.
Yeah,
so,
I probably forgot by that time.
I got you.
They had to go find us to take pictures, so we was gone.
I ain't mad at you. So y'all got married on the beach.
On the
About
beach.
Jamaican minister.
Yep,
Mhm.
Montego Bay.
Okay. Montego Bay?
Yep.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Montego at Sandals. Yeah.
Oh, you did the sandals. Oh
Mhm.
man.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
Was it?
Gorgeous. Yeah,
Wow.
it was beautiful.
So on your way there, I'm gonna hop on you for that. On your way there, knowing this is your thing, you didn't even think about them wedding vows not one time.
Now
You
think
know
about
why?
this.
'Cause I was
She had
out-
cussed me out 30 minutes before that.
About what?
Because she couldn't get in the room because the minister was in the room going over what we gonna do.
Yeah.
So she's bamming on the door because she got her makeup done. Let me in this. And I'm like, hey. I opened the door. She saw the minister. She's like, oh.
I am so sorry.
It's so sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
Mia
you
was
was-
something else.
What you in sandals? Get married. What could he have done wrong?
Let me tell you, I'm going to heaven.
You going to heaven?
No, straight. I'm straight there.
I
got to see that.
Yeah, I'm going to heaven.
Mia, are you that difficult? I mean, are you before?
Not
Before.
anymore.
So
But before, yeah. I was.
okay, so I want to go back a little bit with you.
Mhm.
Where did this come from? This woman, or this anger, or frustration, or
Mhm.
distrust, or I got to have the last word, whatever that is. That
My
you
daddy.
did. Right. Okay, so
Who was a great daddy.
So-
I had a great daddy,
Absolutely.
Lord rest his soul.
Right.
He was
Yep.
a good father, but seeing my parents' relationship,
Yep.
it was just all the things that I didn't want. Because my mom was like this amazing woman who worked really hard, sacrificed everything for everybody. And my daddy was a little bit older, and he was a very self-centered, very intelligent man, very
Yep.
creative man.
Mhm.
You know, overall a good person to his children for sure, and probably initially a great person to my mom before they got divorced. Probably 5 years before they got divorced. So I really think it was just my experiences and what I have seen with marriage that gave me this.
So was it fear? Were you acting out of fear? Because
Yeah,
what had
and-
happened to you?
Right, and I didn't want to ever
So
be
you was
mistreated
defending
or
yourself.
left. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And guarding my feelings because I saw how hurt my mother was when my dad did just leave and give up on their marriage. You know what I mean?
And he knew your story.
and he knew my story. So over
Not
time,
initially.
he learned.
Over
it.
Not
time.
initially.
But then because of when you did find out her story
Mhm.
as a man,
Mhm.
you knew where it was coming from, so you knew how to deal with her.
Right.
Because you understood. You didn't have to say, but you knew what she was afraid of.
Yeah.
So you was the person who was going to protect her,
Mhm.
not tell her, because you knew that wouldn't work. You
Yeah,
had
I used
show
to
her.
tell her.
I'm not your
I'm being
daddy.
persecuted for your families.
Oh, you did say it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I used to tell her that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm being persecuted because of what happened in your family.
Mhm.
How did
Yeah.
you get past that?
Therapy,
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of therapy, and yeah, I just think therapy, and then Joseph being patient, but still being direct and honest,
Mhm.
and not allowing me to treat him, badly. Because if he had allowed, I probably would have, not intentionally or maliciously, but just because of my own, issues.
How was it when he first stood up to you and he put you in your place?
Ooh,
Mm.
I just sat down,
Hush.
shut up, hushed.
Remember the hush name?
No, but
No, tell
but
the hush
seriously.
story.
Okay, so
Because
when-
he didn't argue.
okay.
No, I
He
didn't argue,
doesn't
no.
argue.
Okay.
So, but I argued,
Yeah.
and I was very confrontational. We had to have a conversation, and if we weren't gonna have a healthy conversation, he just wouldn't have the conversation, and that used to aggravate me. And so I think one time he was trying not to argue because it really wasn't gonna get us anywhere. It was really no point in arguing, and he tried to leave the room, and then I was going behind him, like talking stuff, like pointing,
Oh,
and
she was
like
coming behind me
him.
like,
And he went through one of those swinging doors. We
Yeah,
had this
in our
old
house.
1920s house with
Yeah.
all the wood. And so he went through the little swinging door. And then when I went back, he came back and he was like, look. And I was like, oh, okay, this Negro crazy for real. Oh, I can't punk him. So after he showed me it's just certain things you're not gonna be able to do. I'm a man. You have to
Mhm.
respect me as a man.
Mhm.
And he taught me that a lot,
Mhm.
And the only reason I probably didn't is because I saw how much my mother respected my father, and I didn't
Mhm.
feel like he gave her that same respect. So
Right.
it was just,
Yeah. Now, she told me to hush one time, bro.
What?
Hush. We watching TV in our one bedroom apartment.
Uh-huh.
She said, just hush, just hush. The first time she did it, I let
And
it
sitting
slide.
there, right? Yeah, right.
She did it again like 5 minutes later. I said, wait, hold on. I said, I don't know how y'all do it in Birmingham.
Okay.
Right. And I was very calm.
Right,
didn't yell, anything.
Right.
I said, I don't know how y'all do it in Birmingham.
Right.
But here in Milwaukee, some cats will drag you for that.
Yeah.
Because that's just disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'm not a child. Don't tell me to hush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's a lot of ways you can ask me to do stuff, but what you're not going to do is talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And we left it at that.
Yeah.
And, you know, she used to try to argue with me. I'd be like, hey, listen, this is what I feel. I agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And I turn on TV, bro.
Right.
Start watching TV. And she'd be like, and then she realized
she can't get you.
I'm not going to argue.
She was trying to find where your punk card was.
Yeah, but see, I knew I used to have a temper. And I would say some things that I just couldn't take back. There are people I probably said something to 30 years ago that I can't.
You said something there, Joe. Like, we got to realize you can't say everything to anybody and think you can say I'm sorry and it's going to be okay.
No,
right.
You can't.
Right.
And I would say something.
I want to speak on that, but let's speak on that part.
Yeah, I would say some. I mean, when I was younger, I would say some things that were so hurtful that these people would never speak to me again.
Right.
Okay. I wasn't trying to do that to her.
Exactly.
And I knew that about me. And because, like I said, I had been through so much and knew who I was, I just wasn't going to argue with her like that. I wasn't going to let her get me to that point to where now I'm about to say something so bad that this relationship is about to be over. You know, so I just wouldn't do it.
Wow.
I wouldn't let her turn that switch for me because I didn't want to go there.
So in y'all story, y'all both powerhouses in the house, right? She's the powerhouse on the outside to a point, and you are too, from what I'm hearing. But somewhere along the line, kids came into the play. When did that happen?
Well, you know, I already had a son.
Okay.
I already had a son. He was what, 6 when we met? 6 or 7?
7.
Yeah, 6 or 7 when we met. So I already had a son.
Okay.
And I never let none of my female friends around my son. Never. Because I wasn't letting him get used to them.
Right.
All right. And I didn't want them to think they was that close to me.
Gotcha.
Mia's probably the first one. And I think we was at Thanksgiving. We was at Thanksgiving. And my son was at Thanksgiving with us. And he goes, is that your girlfriend? I said, yeah, that's my girlfriend. I said, oh, she fine.
Hey, he got like your dad.
I said, you like her? He said, yeah, she fine.
Yeah. She could be my stepmom.
Yeah. So and then I brought him around and they hung out and stuff, and I saw how she handled him and worked around him and stuff like that. I would tell her not to do stuff, and I would just tell her not to do certain things, just to see if she would do it, and she would do it. She would do it anyway. You know, I knew my son had a weak stomach for orange juice, but he liked orange juice. I'd be like, don't get that boy no orange juice. She'd be like, okay. She'd give him some orange juice anyway. He threw it right in the middle of the floor. I said, oh, you gave him some orange juice. I was okay with it, though. I just wanted to see how she was going to work with him. They had a relationship, you know, and they still, to this day, they have a relationship.
He talked to me.
Yeah, he talked to her first. And once I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, we can work with this.
And then we didn't want to have kids until we knew we were in a good, healthy, stable relationship. So we had Marley after we were married, even married for 5 years. So we dated for 5 years, and then we were married like 4 years, 4 to 5 years. And that's when we got pregnant. Because we just, we don't believe in divorce, and I didn't want to ever put my children through divorce like I went through. And he went through. He's a product of divorce.
Right, absolutely. And then I got custody of my son the year before we moved to Birmingham.
So.
Let me ask you this question. I heard both of y'all say this on numerous occasions throughout this conversation, that we don't believe in divorce. A lot of people say that. I don't believe in divorce, but hell, I've been divorced twice.
Right. I mean, I do believe in divorce.
No, I'm cool. Right. I want to know, how did y'all sustain? Because y'all went through some words, I'm sure. Y'all really true to the mission of I don't believe in divorce. So I'm gonna ask you, but I'm gonna ask you first. What does that mean to you? I don't believe in divorce.
It means that when I married him, I knew exactly who he was. When he married me, he knew exactly who I was. We lived together first. We grew together. We prayed about it, and we decided that we were going to do this. And when we decided we were going to do it, we knew it had to be for the long haul. And so what I've always told him is, just don't do anything to me that you can't take me doing to you. And I do the same. And so we'll always be in a good place, because we're not getting divorced. The only way out of here is to die. You're not going anywhere.
You first.
If you do certain things, you will be tortured.
But But you ain't going nowhere.
But you ain't going
You
nowhere.
ain't going nowhere.
What does that mean for you?
When I think about divorce, I look at what's the reason for divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is just not doing any things that put me in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I control whatever I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to understand who you with. Like, you know, I know Mia and money. I know who she is with money.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She knows me and how I am about things.
Mm-hmm.
She got to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to change her. She's not going to be able to change me. The whole thing is about respect.
Right.
Respect. I'm going to respect you for who you are. I'm not trying to change you because I like who you are. And I actually like you just as much as I love you, you know? So that's the key thing for me is always put the relationship first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times in divorce, people put other things first.
Yeah.
In our relationship, it's us
First.
And everybody can turn against us.
Mm-hmm.
And we okay with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because it's us
Right.
first. You know, God, us, then everybody else. That
Mm-hmm.
includes kids, parents, everybody. So as long as we keep it that way,
And we work on our marriage.
We work on it. Yeah, we absolutely.
Marriage class.
Like we realize
Yeah.
it's a
Huge goal to say that we never are going to be divorced. So we put a lot of time and energy into our relationship.
Right.
the intimacy part of it, the learning about
Marriage,
Yep.
the spiritual part of it, so that we don't end up in that place. But we know we have to work really hard for that.
You have to work hard. It's constant every day. Every day.
With going on 26 years in September, what have y'all learned this year about marriage?
This year?
What the last 3 years, last 3 to 5 years, what have you learned that was different? What made y'all stronger, closer?
Well, in the last 3 years, we worked really close together in business.
Yeah.
So we learned that. I know what I learned is that Mia is a real boss. She is a real boss. She's a leader.
Okay.
She is a leader. She's a visionary. You know, she has phenomenal ideas. She knows her direction. You know, so I think that's what I've learned more about. I already knew who she was as my wife. You know, but as a professional, I learned more. But I knew who she was as a professional, but I learned way more about her as a professional in the last 3 to 4 years.
So let me ask you this question: as you were sitting there, right, in those last 3 years, and you realize, okay, damn, my wife a real boss, right? You, Joe, when you sitting there seeing it, right? What was that emotion, bro? What was that feeling?
No, I'm a boss too.
That's what I was gonna say.
No, but I'm saying, but I understand you are.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when you.
I'm happy. I'm like,
but
you know,
that emotion that's mine. That's my wife, and
man,
boy, and she. Bang.
Yeah. And so because of that, you know, let me just say some selfish stuff.
Go ahead, bro.
I don't have a problem with her being in the front.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with her being in the front.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all take a look at my trophy.
Yeah.
That's my trophy.
Yeah.
Right there. I don't have a problem with that, bro.
Right.
Like for real.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I like for her to get the accolades. She know me. I like to be in the background. I love it. Right. You know, I'd rather be the puppet, you know, or anything like that.
She's coming home.
But see, she's staying on her own.
I think because I'm looking at y'all, right? I know people watching this show right now. When you speak, she's all looking at you in awe, and she's you know, that's my husband. And when you're speaking, he's doing the exact same thing.
That's my wife. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, right? And you can tell when the marriage is bad.
Yeah.
Or it's not so good.
Yeah.
The chemistry is not there.
Right.
Yeah.
From the time he sat down when you was trying to find a parking space till he left you because you said you want to keep up with him because he was driving too fast. Right. The chemistry was, I understood it. Right. I've known you for years, known you for a short period of time, but the chemistry, and I don't know how y'all can bottle that up, and hopefully with y'all podcast that I want to talk a little bit later, the things y'all doing, that y'all can actually bottle that up for people and put that in a way to sell it and tell people how to do this. Because I'm telling people who have ever watched this conversation, I'm sitting here and I am watching a great marriage that has been through strife, turmoil, but overall they understood the end game is us against the world.
The world,
right?
Yeah.
That is huge to say because, like I said it, damn it, I failed. I failed at it twice, right? So I'm learning and like, man, Mia, I want you to clone yourself, okay? You know, real talk, man, because I'm sitting there like, I like that type of woman, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Now, we went through y'all whole story about the kids, about everything, success, living in apartments, you know, y'all met 29,
broke.
24, or broke, all that good stuff.
Broke.
We didn't talk about broke. So how was the broke moment? I want to get
It was great.
It was a great moment. So
Okay, so we done had several broke moments.
Yeah, it was
so
great.
When we first got together, I was the broke one.
okay, so he had money and you.
He had money and I
but you
was
was about
broke.
to come into it.
But I was gonna hopefully come into it.
Okay.
Because that was my second year of mid school, so I had a
Second
little
year
ways
med
to
school,
go.
so it was
Okay.
And then when I finished residency and we moved down here, we were back on top again.
Mhm.
Then I decided to open a business.
Okay.
So we had plenty of years in between these last 15 of brokenness.
Yes.
And not
broke,
too
it's
far.
a different level
And
of broke.
it's a different level of broke.
Yeah,
You know, it's
different
like
broke.
we didn't have a lot of disposable income.
Yeah.
The business wasn't doing as well. But I say we learned, we always have loved each other and respected each other and been able to work together as a team. But I say this part, for the last 3 years, I didn't realize before these last 3 years just how brilliant Joseph was. Because honestly, my business was in red before Joseph joined my business. And within a year of him being there, he put me in the green. So he's a brilliant businessman. So I think I have fallen even more in love with him because of his sacrifice and understanding how brilliant he is and how he could have easily been doing his own thing outside of just his home inspection business. But he chose to support me and give that stuff and push it off for me to like really live my dreams. You know what I mean? So,
but again, it comes from us having a conversation 26 years ago. Okay. I asked her, what does she want to do? Even though I knew she was in med school.
Gotcha.
And she told me, I want to open a multifaceted practice in Birmingham, Alabama. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Which was MiBella
Wellness Center.
Yeah.
And that was the I don't know if she mentioned it before then, and I'm sure she thought about it before we had that conversation. But that was the birth of us doing it. You know, it was the birth of, and even though I didn't work in the practice in the beginning, I was always there to assist with our business manager. Some decisions our business manager need to make, I help her make those decisions. Because I've been in business since 16 years old. I've been in some type of role of running a business. So, and then my family like always had jobs, but they always had entrepreneur jobs on the outside. So it's, you know, so I've been, you know, just groomed, I guess I can say, to be her partner.
Right.
And then I had to learn how to be a good wife. Like I learned since we've been married what the real role of a wife is, how to be respectful, how to show him I love him, the importance of him being able to come home to a very calm, peaceful environment, being a Black man in America, and understanding that the only place where people really show him love and respect is in my house, and then making my house, you know, to do that.
And for our listeners right now, I know we usually be finishing up right now, but I'm gonna take a little bit longer because I'm loving this story. So if y'all can just hold on for about another 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, we're good.
About 10 or 15, because this story here, I don't want to just cut it off. You know what I mean? Because I don't know when I can get y'all back together here again. So MiBella Wellness, right? I remember when you first started. I remember, you know, one thing I gotta say about you is that you're very giving. Right, she would give you the shirt off her back. Right, she would help out anybody that she can. Don't screw her now, because she gonna let you know. Right, but she would give you the shirt off her back. But she's very direct about everything. And I do remember, because I'm friends with some of the same people you are, some of the tough times that were going on, but you kept pushing. What I did not know until today, you was a driving force behind it. Because I remember you had an office manager, and I used to always hear about the office manager and the people, and the different people that you was going through. But you always have had a strong team. I will always say about that, because I don't know who they were, but people that you always had on your team was always strong for whatever reason. I didn't know you was the secret sauce behind that. At the end of the day, I never heard your name a lot. Right, I met you at an event. Right, I don't know what it was, but I met you at one of the events. That's when I knew you was married to somebody. I knew you was married, but I didn't know he was married too. Because it's always Dr. Cowan, Dr. Cowan, Dr. Cowan. What was it like for you once you became this world-renowned Dr.Mia Cowan? Right, what was that like? Because you know you took MiBella Wellness Center from nothing to being known all around the world for? And tell us a little bit for the people who don't know some of the stuff that you do at your center.
Okay. So MiBella, we started off doing gynecology and weight management. And I've always had a big focus on prevention and screening and decreasing the health disparity experienced by Black and brown people in America. So that was like my whole force that drove me to starting MiBella Wellness Center, so that I can allow Black and brown people to get good health care, because we don't get it everywhere. And then we I started aging and maturing and seeing the changes in my hormones. So that's when we added the hormone pellet therapy for both men and women. Marriage is like one of our big missions. Like, we love Black love and Black marriage. And we always want to, help other people experience great marriages. So that's when we got into teaching marriage, learning about marriage in the Bible. And then we added the intimacy part, because we realized that as we age and mature, our bodies change too. And we understand the importance of physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy. But we were like, we don't ever want to be that couple that's sleeping in separate beds and separate rooms. We wanted to keep intimacy alive in our marriage. So we added the intimacy part of it, and the total wellness with supplements. And that's just we just turned into this like prevention, screening, and healthy marriage, healthy aging gracefully, and still being able to feel great as we continue to mature.
And for people who don't know where your location is, where is it located at?
So in Greystone on 280, in Birmingham, Alabama. I guess technically it's Hoover. We take care of men and women, as well as women and adolescents, for gynecology.
Are you looking to open up another location?
We are.
Absolutely.
I just got my license not too long ago in Georgia.
Yep.
So we do plan on expanding into Georgia and possibly somewhere in Alabama, like Huntsville.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about really quickly here, the pellets. I'm over 50. Drink my coffee.
We swear by them, bro.
Dr.Mia.
Right. It's your body changes. So for men and women, when that testosterone declines, like, you keep your weight down good. I can tell you exercise a lot, but you probably notice that you have to do a whole lot more at 50 than what you had to do at 30.
Yes.
To keep
Absolutely. So when the wind blow, my boy ain't saying, big. Blow real hard now. You know what I'm saying? I got to put a lot of thought into it. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
Exactly.
Being honest.
Exactly.
Being honest.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, 100%.
And then, we understand like that. If you think about when people get divorced, it's in their 40s and 50s, and that's when your hormones change. So men start going through andropause, and women start going through perimenopause, which is where testosterone declines, and that's when men and women will notice mood changes, decreased sex drive. Women will notice difficulty having orgasms, will notice problems with sleep, night sweat, fatigue, the mind fog. So all of those symptoms that come simply from low testosterone, and once you replace the testosterone, they go away, and you feel better, and you feel back to normal, and you want to have great sex all the time.
So what do we need to do to get in touch with you? I mean, so is it a pellet for men, a pellet for women?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. So women get pellets with estrogen and testosterone, depending on where they are. And then men get pellets with just testosterone.
Yeah. Is it better than Viagra?
Much better, because it's on demand. So you don't have to pop a pill. Okay. So with the testosterone and the intimacy services, you can perform the way you performed in your 30s. Right. Because when men age, they have a change in erections, and they're not as hard, and they don't last as long, and they're not as predictable. So that's why we have the intimacy services. And for women, they notice vaginal dryness, pain with intercourse, difficulty having orgasms as well. So between the intimacy services and the hormone pellet therapy and the weight management, it's really like an anti-aging center.
How long does a pellet last?
For men, it lasts 5 to 6 months. For women, 3 to 4 months. Right. So we get them more frequently, but y'all get way more. So they last a lot longer. So Joseph's been getting pellets since he was 46, and I've been getting pellets since I was 38.
Yep.
So I'm gonna start getting pellets. I'm on 54.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming to get me a pellet. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one thing. It is not normal for us to decline in our health and to have low libido, brain fog, fatigue. That is not normal. Okay. It is something that happens over time, but it's only because of the depleting of the testosterone.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I do find it. I do fight it. But you know, when I'm searching for certain words or things that I knew I could do before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's that brain fog.
That's that brain fog.
Yeah.
And the other part for me is I'm more lethargic. I have to push myself a lot harder.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do it, but it's not as easy for me to jump out of the bed the way I want to. You know what I'm saying?
Man, 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm ready to go to bed.
Right.
So I understand.
Yeah.
So even with that, your low libido, just the ability, well, just the drive to have sex, right? That depleted for me at 40 something, 46.
Now,
46
my
years old.
still good.
Yeah.
You know, but the whole thing is not like I said, I have to really think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not like same for women.
Yeah,
you know?
I got to make sure if I'm with someone, I got to make sure I really like her.
Yes. Yeah.
If
Because
not,
otherwise, it's not happening. It's not happening. And that's why we got into the intimacy services too, because we've been doing hormone replacement therapy for 12 years. Okay. But what we realize is some of the guys and women, but mostly the guys, when they come to us, now their libido is at an all-time high, but they don't have the performance that they want to have. So that's what we got into the intimacy service, because the intimacy service helps you with the performance.
Okay. So I would love to do another show with that, because I know I've taken up your time a whole lot there.
Yeah,
but if there's anything that MiBella Wellness has going on for us, the company, what y'all got going?
So let's see, we got a customer appreciation event at Dread. You should come at
Dread
River on Saturday, May 10th,
what time?
from 2 to 6.
2 to 6, I can make it.
And we're gonna have a panel, and we're gonna be talking about hormones and sex.
Okay.
I got a sex therapist there. I got an intimacy toy specialist there. Yours truly. We got Peggy. She's the trainer, and then I have Dr. Michelle for mindset. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I got a question. Can a rose replace a man? But you know, that's another conversation.
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna look in the camera and say, if you think it can, then you're gonna have a bad relationship.
Or come see me so I can show you different.
Right. No toys. Men can't compete with toys.
No,
we can't.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So.
Well, I want to thank y'all so much for coming to Coffee and Conversation. Hope you guys
Thank
enjoyed
you.
everything about this. But the other thing is there anything that you guys want to put on the table in the advance? If they want to reach you right now, how can they reach you?
205-995-1009 or MiBellaWellness.com.
MiBellaWellness.com. Y'all make sure, hey, y'all, let's put these coffee cups together.
Yes. Salute.
What a great conversation that we've had today, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Share the video out there. Make sure y'all go to MiBellaWellness.com, MiBellaWellness.com. It's your boy Joe Lockett. Hey man, y'all go ahead and get them pellets if y'all need it over 50. I'm saying MiBella. I'm gonna make me an appointment today. I love y'all. See y'all guys next week.